Thank you. Uh, yes, no, yes, no. I want to,
You recognize that, don't you?
yeah.
Yeah. I want to ask a question, well, maybe not. I want to ask a question, well, maybe not. The corner lighted up and then it would go away, and then the corner would light up and then it would go away. But this is the perfect timing.
I want to express my gratitude to you for the benefit you've been to me in the year that I've been listening to you. It's an amazing change has happened in my life. From feeling finally, after all this time, worthy of all the good things. I've always been blessed with wonderful health and a wonderful family and wife and kids and relative abundance, certainly in the 95 percentile of the planet. And yet there was something in me that didn't think I could have it all, and now
Well, you couldn't be too far out of whack or you wouldn't be living the life you are.
yeah.
In other words, you were closer to alignment than you wanted to accept, because you've been trained, as a lot of people have, to believe that you should struggle harder for the good that comes to you.
Yes.
And when it comes relatively easily, you feel guilty about that. And there are a whole host of people that are out there not very well connected that work very hard at making you feel guilty. In other words, they want you to feel guilty. They want you to suffer more than you do so that they feel better about the suffering that they're doing. They don't do it consciously. Well, some of them do. But on the whole, they're well-meaning. So how have you come about giving it up?
I think I just got sick and tired of it. I'm not going to take it anymore.
We think so too. We think the contrast of it just got feeling bad enough, and you realize that you're supposed to feel good, and feeling good was something that was natural to you, so it was an easy transition to make. And we want to let you know, of course, you're already beginning to feel it because the momentum is swelling.
Yes.
But all of that well-being that you've been living is small in comparison with what is now coming, as you brought yourself into alignment with now knowing that it's all right to let the good times roll.
Yes. Thank you. So I guess my hesitancy in coming up was, it's also wonderful. I just want some minor tweaking. It's like, I set some really big business goals in the beginning of the year, and that basically 4 times anything I'd ever experienced in any other year. And, about 2 months ago, I was nowhere near it. And then I finally allowed myself to feel worthy. And then immediately things started flowing in. And this huge deal is working out in my life. And it's going so smoothly. And then there's little bumps in the road. And the client calls in and says, I changed my mind. The deal's off. And my secretary takes the message, and she, of course, feels bad for me because she believes them. And I say, well, they just don't understand. I call them back up. Everything's fine. It's like there was some joy in seeing that other people thinking the reality wasn't going to happen, but it's really happening. And so now there's been like these 3 or 4 peaks. And
so that's,
am I creating that myself?
Yes, and you are doing it because there is a part of you that you want your hands in the clay, and you want to feel responsible for the creation, and you want to, in essence, earn the good that's coming. And so you're not quite ready to just let it happen. That's the tweaking that you're wanting to do. You're wanting to justify it just a little bit by suffering at least some.
Yeah.
And in that, clarity is coming forth. In other words, when something looks like it's not quite going right, clarity relative to rockets of desires happen, and the future experience gets better as a result of that focused attention that is then required. You see, this is ideal creating. When you get to this place where you've set goals that thrill you, but they're not so big that they feel out of reach, and it's still interesting enough that you want to focus upon it, but When something goes wrong, it doesn't knock the wind out of you because you have enough confidence that things are going well. This is the ideal state of creating.
Yes.
And you have honed it into that position. We say you've got your hands on the steering wheel and your foot on the accelerator, and you get to decide where you go and how fast you go. And if it gets going too fast, you can slow down, and if it's not fast enough, you can speed up. In other words, this is what creating is. And you have come to consciously acknowledge that it is the focusing that makes it happen. So much so that when your secretary gets the information about what seems to be the action reality, you didn't let it divert you from the emotional journey that you'd already decided to take. And so, since you didn't let it divert you, the action journey couldn't be diverted either. See?
Right.
Yes.
Thank you. So, just keep feeling good, eh? Have I missed anything?
Well, we can hear some questions within you. How good can it get? And we say, we have not seen the lid on that. How much fun can I have? How much money can I make? How many people can I influence for the better? In other words, we don't see any ending to all of this. But your work is constant, and it is the same work. It is managing that distance between the desire and the current in the moment vibration. And so you can't be off the wall excited all the time. But think about your life vacillating between things that feel like, oh, that's fascinating, or oh, that's exciting, or oh, doesn't this feel good, or oh, don't you just love this, or oh, isn't that surprising, oh, isn't that interesting. In other words, there's lots of variety in emotions that will keep you perfectly happy up there in that stratosphere of positive creating. And we can feel that you're at the place, and many of you are, where your expectation of well-being is so well in place that you just can't experience anything other than that. And so just relax and continue to savor and enjoy. And we want to amplify the word savor because you're on the brink of so much expansion that the savoring will be an important element in keeping you in balance. Every now and again, Esther and Jerry will say, we've got a tiger by the tail, because they can feel that past intentions and steady allowing is allowing all kinds of manifestation that is not all that easy to keep up with. And we say, but the universe will continue to yield the mechanism to keep up with it as long as you keep yourself in balance. But if you get out of balance, then that discord between what's happening, in other words, you say, I said I wanted it, but I didn't say I wanted it all at once or all this afternoon. And we say, you've got your foot on the throttle, you've got your hands on the steering wheel. And savoring or appreciating is the best application that we know to hold you in this steady alignment where the fairies of the universe can continue to deliver to you all of the mechanisms that you'll need in place to keep up with all of this that you are asking for. There is so much more than you've been asking for than you know that you've been asking for. In other words, as you set a financial goal, it is not only about the expansion for yourself, it's about the expansion of all of those who are involved in that which you're about. In other words, it creates this nucleus, this machine that allows so many to begin to thrive along with you. You see. It's much bigger than finances. Yes.
Okay, thank you. One last question, I guess. Is it natural to sort of prepare for eventualities, and then in thinking of preparing for them, is that perhaps helping them to arise?
Well, when you understand that the universal forces are preparing circumstances and events, then you can relax and trust that it's going to come into place. But it's fun to get your hands in the clay. So the rule of thumb that we would use is be as specific as you can be and still feel good. If you are visualizing to try to make things happen, then you're stepping on the universe's creative toes, so to speak. And there's an element of not trusting that is messing up your vibration and bogging everything down. But if you are visualizing because it's thrilling to visualize and because you love the sensation, frankly, of having an idea, not being sure of it, pondering it, getting more sure of it, seeing the universe deliver more data to you, getting more sure of it, and actually showing yourself that you can go from not being sure to being sure and feeling the energy that comes with all of that, that's creating. That's hands-on creating, you see. We never want to give you the impression that deliberate creating is about sitting back and yawning and in a sort of bored state of being, just waiting for the universe to deliver the good stuff. There's no fun in that. You want to be queued up there where you're anticipating. Esther had such a feeling of exhilaration. The other day, Jerry and Esther were in the building alone, and they were putting a battery in the little car so that Kate could drive it around in the afternoon. And Esther was in this high good place, anticipating how much fun Kate was going to have. And she was also thrilled in her ability to retrieve all of the tools that Jerry needed in order to disassemble the contraption to get the battery in. She loves being the facilitator, and they were having a very good time. And in the midst of all of that, she heard a pop. They both did, and they went into the other room, and one of the windows that they are double paned and under pressure just took that opportunity to explode. And the window shattered. It didn't break, but it shattered, and for the next 5 hours, it just rippled, and became this beautiful glass that, of course, needed to be replaced before you all got here. And so they made the phone calls, and the people came to replace the glass, and there was something about the energy of all of those nice people that got involved that made it even better than if it hadn't happened. Now, you might say the glass shouldn't have shattered, and we say, but wasn't it fun that it did? And you might say, but it must be a manufacturer flaw, and we say, but the manufacturer will stand behind it, and wasn't it fun to watch that happen? And you might say, but what am I doing that would cause a glass to crack or to break? And we say, well, it might be that you like interacting with people. And so they made a phone call to someone who made a phone call, and these nice men arrived who have been here before because this has happened before. And they all know each other, and Esther is playing with them and watching them and interested in their technique and enjoying the skill with which they apply their craft and are amazed at their ability and wanted so much to play with them. And so they are taking this very heavy glass out, and they've taped it so that it will not shatter. And then Esther is inspired with an idea that lit her up from the inside out. She said, I'll get the golf cart, and I'll help you take it to the dumpster. They were thrilled because they were wondering how they were going to lug this very heavy glass to the dumpster. They remember where it was. And Esther is looking for every opportunity to be of value and every opportunity to drive her golf cart. And she is thrilled that she can drive the golf cart right onto the porch. She would bring it in the house if Jerry would let her. So she backed it around. She's thrilled with her skill. She backed it down. They loaded it on. They got on the golf cart with her. They complimented her on her driving. She took them by the monster bus to show her what she really likes to drive. They went to the dumpster. She drove down so that they could lift it up. It looked very heavy, so she backed it in just a special way so that they could stand on the golf cart while they lifted it into the dumpster. And Esther is so thrilled that that window broke. In other words, what better excuse to live life than to have someone fun to play with? And what are you going to do if your windows don't break? Something else, but who cares what it is? What difference does it make with whom you're playing as long as you're having fun while you're doing it? What difference does it make? You are just using the stuff of this life experience as your excuse to have fun in the moment, as your excuse to feel fulfilled or to be satisfied or to use your mind or to go beyond what you've done before, or to think the new thought or to play the new game or to talk to the new person or to have the new insight or to feel the new emotion or to feel more satisfied. In other words, that's what life is. It's just this ongoing, never-ending vacation adventure, you see. You can't get it wrong and you never get it done. And we recommend that you have as much fun as you can along the way.
Thank you for all you do.
And you as well, yes. Now what? We have enjoyed this interaction immensely. It is wonderful to come together with those like you, who are coming more and more in every day to remember who you are. Life is supposed to be fun, and this sort of gathering, leading edge teachers, teachers of teachers, always evokes from us more information than anybody needs. We make far too much of all of this. Life is supposed to be fun. You're supposed to feel good. Get out there and do both. There is great love here for you. We are Musik.